Welcome to Baseball Biz. I'm Mark Corbett, your host, and with me is Brandon Noe. How you doing today, Brandon?
I'm not doing half bad, Mark. How about you?
Well, you know, it's a special RaysUp edition. Hey, Brandon. Like I said, I am excited about a RaysUp edition. And what? We got some good news. And heaven knows we need it. And that good news comes from the Durham Bulls. It comes from the number one prospect for the last 2 years, and that's Mr. Wander Franco. Man, he has been a point of anticipated excitement for, well, at least for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he has. I mean, everybody's been asking when's Wander going to come up, when is he going to come up, and this year we're kind of hoping he would start the league here, or start the season here. We kind of knew that he probably wasn't going to. You know, we thought he would get called up when Adames was traded. He wasn't. That was Walls. But now he's finally here, and looking at what he did in the minors, I think it's very well deserved. I mean, he's hitting 323, 376, 601 slash line, 24 extra base hits, which, from what I see, according to Zach Blobner, he is currently first in AAA East with extra base hits and RBIs. So I think that's something that the Rays could really use as extra oomph in that offense, because they've been pretty pedestrian the past week or so.
Yeah, we'll talk about those White Sox and Mariners games here in a bit, but Wander Franco is just amazing. He's somebody that, I mean, this is the first year what he's been with AAA. He's been with the Hot Rods, our farm team, and then with, who else was it? Oh, yeah, Montgomery Biscuits. But this is the first year with the Durham Bulls. And I always wonder, because I look at the single A and the Class A teams, and I think, well, what's happening with it? I know sometimes they use a different ball. And then you think of the level of player that they face is a little bit different. And that holds true even at AAA. AAA, you're using the same ball as the major leagues. And your players that are in close proximity to being at the major league level, who may be up and down because of injuries or rehab, but that's a bigger, topper tier than what he's been doing for the last almost 2 years. So let's see, man. Everything about him looks good. Hope's good. History is good, and let's see how he plays at the plate. Let's see how he plays in the field. Where are we going to put him out there in the field, Brandon?
I've seen some people say he's going to primarily play shortstop, maybe bounce around a bit. The only thing I haven't seen is who's going to be sent down. I've heard some people say Walls, because they say he hasn't impressed really much. He only had the one home run in like 30 games that he's played. But I think he's done pretty good, and I wonder if maybe Brosseau could be the guy to be sent down, because he kind of already did get sent down, but then he got called back up when Glasnow got hurt, so yeah, that'll be something to see before game time.
Yeah, I think that it would probably be Brosseau. I think Walls has too much promise. I mean, a lot of us were surprised when it was Walls that came up and not Wander, because basically, Wander's been the one who has been getting all the press. Anyway, Mr. Walls, when he came up, he's made an impact. He was a surprise, because I thought, oh, great, who are we getting? Is this like a guy? Why are we not bringing up Wander? Who is this guy? Is he going to be any good at all? And he has a tenacity. He has, when you watch him running the bases, man, he does it without fail. He goes at full speed, and he's going to redefine hustle. Kiermaier's been basically the definition of hustle for the Rays for years, but look at Walls, and he looks pretty daggone hot. All righty, so we talked about Wander, and we talk about what's up and coming with him. Now let's talk about the painful recent history of the Rays, and that's being on the road, leaving the Eastern time zone, going out to, well, first starting out in Central time zone with our good friends up in Chicago, and talking about the White Sox, not the Cubs, and then all the way out to Seattle with the Mariners, who we've had a lackluster performance in Seattle in the past. Seattle's not a top team, at least not in my estimation, but we gave them a chance to be.
Yeah, they're a team that everybody's really dogged on this year, talking about their offense being horrendous because they've been no-hit twice. And their offense really didn't seem to have a problem this weekend against the Rays because it didn't seem like they ever really got their footing, the pitching staff, because anytime they would be given a chance, they would blow it. Or every time they're, like in extra innings on Sunday yesterday, they had a chance to maybe help the team out a little bit, try and win the game for the offense. And they couldn't do that because Diego Cabanne gave up a grand slam, and honestly, nobody really performed very well in that series, and quite honestly, the past week. I'll take that back. Not everybody performed bad. McClanahan performed really well.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look at this, too. What we did for the Mariners, we helped them quite a bit, in a sense. They're now above the 500 level on wins and losses. So you can thank us. You swept us in a 4-game series. We gave up 2 to Chicago. It's just been freaking ugly. Talking about the different games, let's see. I was really concerned when I'm looking back to Wacha. I mean, was it Friday night? He came up there and he played for 3.2 innings, Brandon. And that was 22 at-bats, only 2 strikeouts and 1 walk, and surrendered 11 hits and 5 earned runs. Think about that, 22 at-bats. I mean, not a complete lineup through every one of those, but still an average of, well, I mean, more than 7, I guess about 7 per inning. And 11 hits and 5 earned runs. Ouch.
That's just disappointing. I mean, we didn't really know what to think of Wacha in the offseason. We were kind of going back and forth which one we were going to get. We were hoping we get good Wacha, but it looks like we've gotten bad Wacha. And I mean, he has a 5.19 ERA, a 1-2 record, and 12 appearances. He just really hasn't impressed me at all this year, and he's been the exact opposite of Rich Hill. It's crazy how opposite our 2 bigger additions have been, not including Archer, who I think would maybe be doing better than. I don't think he could be doing worse than what Walker's doing. I don't think he'd be doing as good as Hill, but I think he could be a good, reliable guy. At least that's what he looked like in his short stint.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Rich Hill, is head above a lot of them now. I mean, I don't necessarily think Charlie Morton when I look at him, but he's really been performing fantastic. And as much as I'm giving, Wacha grief, a lot of that loss on Friday night came at the hands of their pitcher Kikuchi, who he has been absolutely stunning, in the results he's been able to get for the Mariners. So I wasn't completely surprised that we lost. And it was a 5-1 loss. So guess what? Even though Wacha gave up 5 earned runs in his 3.2 innings, the bats, they weren't completely silent, but they might as well have been on Friday. But let's go ahead and find the ray of sunshine. And that was the game last night and Sunday, playing, again, the Mariners. But Shane McClanahan, man, there is a guy who I just loved watching. Now, he pitched for six innings, and he gave up 1 run. But looking at the stats here, we're looking at 61 of his 86 pitches were strikes. Woof. And watching him was amazing because I watched him with one player, and I know he threw at least 2 pitches at 100 miles per hour. Look here. Let's see. For the entire game, he threw 3 pitches at 100 miles per hour and 8 others at 99 plus. The 8 more were like 99.97, whatever. But gosh, that is absolutely crazy. So he's going to be there. He's going to be strong for a long time to come. Really excited about that Shane McClanahan who took the mound Sunday. So hopefully we'll see more of him throughout the entire season.
Yeah, and I hope this is really what, gets him going again, because he started out, he was really impressive. And it seems like lately he's been a little bit inconsistent. We're not really sure what we're going to get from him. He wouldn't be horrible, but he wouldn't be great or good. And yesterday he was actually really, really good, and hopefully he can continue that because, I mean, this pitching staff, it's hurting right now, and they could use all the help that they can get.
Well, let's see. We've got a few games coming up here soon. The upcoming games where boys are returning to the Trop on Tuesday. They will be facing the Red Sox for 3 games, and then the Angels for 3 games, then going on the road again against the Nationals and the Blue Jays. So those 3 games are going to be rather instrumental. As far as facing Boston, we start to really see some of the things from the trades that have come from the Rays. We're going to be seeing some old faces, I should say some old friends, looking there. Well, we've got Christian Arroyo. More about him in a moment. We'll be seeing Hunter Renfroe again. We'll see Andriese, Matt Andriese, we'll see him. And then Nate Eovaldi, he's going to be there as well. So we could have a reunion with these guys.
Yeah, we could. And talk about a couple guys that have been really good, like Arroyo and Renfroe. I mean, I wish they could have done that here, but ultimately it wasn't meant to be. And unfortunately, they're finding their stride in a rival, in a division rival.
Yeah, I wish they weren't in our division sometimes as well as they've been doing lately. And I was really happy to see Christian I think it was his first grand slam. There he is at bat. He got 3 men on base. He's up there. Bam! He knocks that puppy straight out of the park, and there is a grand slam for the Red Sox with Christian Arroyo. And then what happens? A day or two later, yesterday, he's out there. I think it was Enrique Hernandez. He collided. The 2 players were out there, I guess, going for a ball, and bam! And so he was out of the rest of the game. He has let's see, what was it? Oh, a bone bruise. I don't know if that happened Saturday or Sunday, but anyway, Alex Cora said it doesn't look too bad, so maybe we will see Christian again when the Boston Red Sox come to the Trop this week. And my favorite moment with Hunter Renfroe was when he was over there in right field, and he leaped over an embankment to catch a ball. Have you ever seen that footage?
I believe I did.
Yeah, it's like he's a giant frog. He just leaps up in the air, right over an embankment, catches the ball, and lands there. It's like, okay, this is almost cartoonish, but it was always a joy to watch him. It's like a lot of these players, you hate to see them go, but Neander's done a great job with who he brings in, so I can never complain, or very little, about what he's done. So we'll be doing we'll be seeing some of our friends back. And then we play the Angels. Well, that can be a mixed bag. The best thing about the Angels is you get to see Shohei Ohtani come up and pitch and bat as well.
That's a guy who could really do some damage if this pitching staff doesn't turn it around quick in that series, because I saw every day this past week, the one day he didn't hit, he was pitching, of course, but every day he had an at-bat, he hit a home run. So, talk about a hot streak. And the good thing is we get to see him in the home run derby. Yeah,
so let's see. Who do you think will be there this year? Pete Alonso, maybe as well, once again?
I'm not sure. Hey, maybe that's a topic for Wednesday.
There you go.
We do our fantasy home run derby.
It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of players, and I've told you before, I sometimes have mixed feelings about having a player in a home run derby or even an all-star game. More so about an all-star game, due to potential for injury or anything else that could happen to a player. But heaven knows we need a break in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Let's see here, brother. I could take a look at, here's one. Now, this was a stat that Bally Sports put up the other day on pitchers who pitch 100 miles per hour plus. And while we were talking about those numbers about Shane McClanahan, I think he's over 15 now of 100-plus pitches this year at 100. Yeah. Jacob deGrom, not surprisingly, 139. So McClanahan's second with like about 14 or 15. Garrett Cole has 10. Shohei Ohtani, 9. So, are you surprised that he's not in the National League team?
I don't know. I mean, if you put him on a National League team, then you could potentially have a better shot at getting best of both worlds. Make him an everyday player, but he can play more positions than most everyday players. So, that if I were a National League team, I wish I would have had him, but ultimately he went to an AL team. And who knows if he'll ever leave that team? But that's too early to talk about that.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, boy, if you don't have a designated hitter, wouldn't you love to have a pitcher like that?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I mean, DeGrom's kind of like that. He has more RBIs than he does earned runs.
That's true. Hey, there's some great talent out there. We're going to talk more about pitching on the next show too, and some of the stuff with the sticky stuff. And I'm kind of tired in some ways about hearing about it, Brandon. But I didn't mention earlier. Hey, this is the big day. I mean, no, I'm not talking about Father's Day. That was yesterday. This is the day. Some say Mother's Day, when you've got umps going out there and they're going to be checking gloves. They're going to be doing more than they've done in decades to enforce an ancient rule on foreign substances. And we'll get more of that into the upcoming show, but it's been a problem for the Rays. I mean, Glass now came out and said it. He talked about the injury that he has. He didn't know initially what all that was going to be, but the UCL, a partial tear. A lot of times that sounds like Tommy John surgery, so I don't know if it's going to get that bad. They're hoping for less. We'll see what comes. But this is the first day of that, and by that I mean enforcing the rule. Tyler tried to go cold turkey before all this, and he blames that he had to change his style to accommodate this not new rule, but new plan to enforce it.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it last week on our last show. If you want to go back and listen to that, and we kind of thought maybe going cold turkey it could be a big problem for these pitchers. And honestly, I'm kind of excited to see how they enforce it, because I kind of said it last week too. I'm not sure if this is going to go over well. It might blow up in their face.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. I mean, there's a lot of things at play here. This is the year that the MLB and the Players Association, this is the year that the MLB and the Players Association are working on their collective bargaining agreement, the CBA. And we'll have more on that too in the upcoming show as well. But getting back to the Rays, overall, we hope Tyler's, feeling well soon. We know it's not going to be too soon. We're talking about maybe playoff time, maybe. We'll see. So once we get through playing with the Angels and playing with the Red Sox here, we're back on the road to the Nationals and Blue Jays. We'll see how that goes.
It's not going to be a walk in the park, I don't think that, because I didn't really get to see much of the National Series, and from everything I read, the Rays didn't, just breeze right through that. And I don't know if they're playing Scherzer at all, so that could definitely throw them for a loop. And of course, the Blue Jays, you never know which one you're going to get. You could sweep them like we did about a month or so ago, or they could get high and sweep you.
Well, and I talked with Brent Carty from the Carty Show. He does that whole show all about the Blue Jays, and I told him I've always been a little concerned when we face them. You don't know what's going to happen, and they played well. And you look at who they have at bat. You got Guerrero Jr. and a lot of other folks in there. They're just knocking it out of the park. And Alek Manoah. I was looking really at him as well. But they had a couple of who was it? The Orioles. Yeah, the Orioles hit a couple of home runs off of him the other day. And then one of the Orioles was hit by a pitch with Alek, and he kind of started walking off the mound and toward the home plate after that. He had his hands out to his sides. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry, or hey, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what he was saying. But that was a bench clearing event right there.
I must have missed that. I got to go back and find that.
Oh, yeah. It was something. So, yeah, you could say it was a bird fight, man. It was ugly. But people being thrown out of the game, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Okay, taking a look. So if we're going to take a little closer look at the AL East, where the Rays have been sitting there at the top for some time, when you lose 6 games in a row, not surprised to see you lose a little traction at the top. But amazingly enough, let's see. Oh, we are kind of sharing the top. Not really. We both the Red Sox and the Rays have 43 wins, but the Red Sox only have 29 losses, and we have 30 losses. So that leaves us a half a game behind the Red Sox. The Yankees are 4.5 games behind. Blue Jays are 7 games behind. And the sad thing about the Orioles is they're 19.5 games behind. Ouch.
They could have gone 10-0 and nothing would have happened.
Yeah, it was pretty daggone bad. I mean, yeah, they won 1-9. Ugh. But
rough times in Baltimore again.
But looking across both leagues, there's a lot of teams that really haven't been doing much more than 500. The AL West has got some strong teams: Astros, Athletics, Mariners, and Angels, all above 500 in their last 10 games. And
I believe all top 3 teams in the AL West won their series this week. I know the Astros, they won their series. We know what the Mariners did. We don't really need to talk about that again. I think the A's took 2 out of 3 from New York. The Yankees.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and I've told you, we both talked before, Astros are going to be kind of a disruptor for a lot of teams. And they certainly were for the White Sox, because we lost that series to the White Sox and walked away with 1 win. And then the White Sox meets the Astros, and I don't know if I can't remember, it was I think it was a 4-game series, and they lost all games to the Astros. Boom. Interesting times, my friend.
It is.
Hey, and don't forget, folks, vote for your favorite Rays in the MLB All-Star voting to get them there in the All-Star game. So you can vote up to 5 times a day. You can find that on the Rays site or the MLB site. You can pick whoever you like for both American League and National League.
I got to go vote for today. Okay,
so we're going to see what happens with the Rays. I mean, there's been a lot of trades. There's been a lot of things coming up on deadline, and I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, let's take a quick look at who we have moved things around with, Brandon. I mean, we got Mike Brosseau. We said up and down. He's been doing okay, and then we got G-Man Choi to return. We sent Brosseau back to the minors. Then Glass now gets hurt, and we bring Brosseau back. I don't know where he is now because of some of the changes, like with Wander Franco. We go ahead and we pick up Mike Ford from the Yankees. He said, what happened with him? He was working first base. Luke Voigt gets good, gets well, comes back. And then Zach Britton also comes back and and the Yankees said, hey, no, we don't need Mike Ford anymore. So, hey, Rays, let's pick him up. I'm still not sure about that one. We got Matt Wisler. He DFA'd from the Giants, and that is still, to me, to be proved what's going to happen there with him. I mean, I've read one thing where an article from Jack Stern from PitcherList.com, and some of the things he'd be saying about Wisler says he's a strikeout machine. He's punching out 33.7% of hitters he's faced in 2021. And he has a 30.5% strikeout rate in 100 innings of work since the start of the 2019 season. Those look good.
That's not bad at all. I mean, when you look at him this year, he has a 5.01 ERA, which that's not very good. And that's only in about 19 and a third innings.
And so we'll see what comes with him. But you and I both, though, had questioned the Adames trade. We had high hopes for Feyereisen, and maybe he'll show us that. But with the trade with him and with Drew Rasmussen, and did we bring him up the other day? I can't remember.
I think they did.
There's been so
I didn't
much.
see him play, but of course I didn't watch every single inning of this series. But I didn't. One of the ones I watched, I didn't see him play.
Yeah, you haven't been watching any hockey games while this is going on.
No. Baseball 24/7.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be here in Tampa with Tampa Bay and watching the Lightning, but we'll let you guys hear that elsewhere. Let's see. Oh, and now for that very special part of the show I like, the X-Rays. Okay, the X-Rays, what's going on? Well, Charlie Morton the other day, man. He's been with the Braves now. He almost threw a no-hitter against the Cardinals this past week, so that was a pretty cool game for Charlie. Kudos to him.
That was his best outing with the Braves.
Yeah, so they must feel pretty good about that. And talking about somebody who's on the other side of that pitching, and Wilson Ramos, a former catcher of the Rays, he's been bounced with a couple teams. I think he's had a contract with the Detroit Tigers for about $2 million a year. And then he got a back injury, and he was having a little difficulty coming back. We already talked about Christian Arroyo hitting a grand slam the other day, and that was huge. They had him on the bench. They actually picked him off the bench to go ahead and hit that grand slam. So that was a good choice on their part to do that. And then Steven Souza Jr. is back, Brandon. He's one of these people, he's not completely controversial, but he has some attitudes and ideas sometimes that not everybody agrees with. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Kind of give an idea about who Souza was. He was in high school, and he signed with the Washington Nationals. He was selected third in the 2007 MLB draft, receiving a $346,000 signing bonus. For a kid who ain't in college, man, that's pretty good.
It is. I'd happily take that right now.
Yeah, he played single A ball in 2009, 2010. And let's see, he was like an all-star in the South Atlantic League. But while he was there, he also got hit with a 50-game suspension for use of a banned substance. And I don't think we're talking sticky stuff. In 2013, Souza was added to the Nationals' 40-man roster. And his major league debut was April 13th, 2014 against the Atlanta Braves. Then in December 2014, the Nationals traded Souza and Travis Ott to the Rays in a 3-team trade. Okay, so it was December of 2014. The Nationals, they traded Souza to the Rays. It was like a 3-team trade. The Padres traded Joe Ross and Trey Turner to the Nationals. Padres traded Jake Bars and Bert Smith and Rene Rivera to the Rays. And the Padres received Will Myers, Ryan Hannigan, and Jose Castillo from the Rays. Will Myers, okay, I forgot about that.
People probably forget he was here.
Yeah, I know. You see some of these players after a while is forgetting. So there's another X-ray right now. So in that trade, you had Jake Bars and you had Will Myers as well. Let's see, 2018, we sent Souza to the Diamondbacks, and God bless them. We'll talk about them in the next show too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that it is another 3-team trade. We got Nick Solak from the Yankees, and Anthony Banda, and 2 players to be named later, which is Colin Poche and Sam McWilliams. All right. And Souza had a rough 2019 when I'm looking at here. He was an outfielder for the Diamondbacks, and he had to undergo surgery, repair an ACL tear. And I think this happened when he was coming in, believe it or not, and he said he awkwardly stepped on a home plate. So he slipped, and he wound up, making some muscle injuries with that. That happened at Chase Field. So he had a bit of a victory, a personal victory, you could say, the other day, because after that he signed with the Dodgers. So it's been about 27 months since he was carried off the field, it says, from in Chase. And then the other day, there he is with the Dodgers, and bam, if he doesn't hit a home run right there in Chase Field. So a nice way to kind of loop around a success for him. But we'll see what's to come. I was a little disappointed, and this is where I talk about how, he can be a little controversial. He made a mention in a tweet, not directly quoting Glass now, but saying something about, well, cheaters having problems with foreign substances or doing things they're cheating at, and then they complain about the injuries that come by not cheating. And he got some feedback that was pretty harsh and heavy on Twitter. And he came back with, kind of a partial, I wouldn't call it an apology, but an explanation, and said, well, maybe my language was a little rough. And by rough, I'm not saying cursing. He just rough and using the word cheater when he was obviously talking about our good friend, Mr. Tyler Glass now.
He definitely could have phrased it a bit better.
Yeah. Okay, Brandon. Well, we've got all that going on. Let's now we're going to take a special look at the Tampa Bay Rays farm report. Of course, the biggest news has been some of what's happening in minor league report. We were talking about none other than Mr. Wander Franco coming up. But if we look at the teams themselves, it's interesting to see in the AAA Southeast that Durham, our team there, is leading. They got 27 wins, 13 losses. Beneath them, Nashville's 25-14, Jacksonville 23-17, Gwinnett, Charlotte, Norfolk, and Memphis follow after that. If we go to, let's see, in Durham, Franco, and I think you mentioned this earlier, he was 2 for 5 with a triple the other day. His league leading 6 of the season. Wow. Brujan, he recorded a season-high tying 3 hits, including a homer, and his 8th of the season. Patino, he's a right-handed pitcher. He tossed 5 scoreless innings, it says here, so that sounds good. He's only allowed just 1 run over his last 14 innings pitched. Where is this guy? Isn't he supposed to be on the mound with the Rays?
That'd be nice to have right now.
So I look forward to seeing Patino. I'm happy about getting Franco up here, but I'm excited about seeing Patino come sometime soon.
Yeah, and from what I remember him pitching here, he didn't look that bad. He wasn't like overly like, oh, this dude's going to be a superstar. But for a guy that was just thrown in there with a new team, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did. And I said, to me, I'm excited about seeing him come back up. As much as I'm excited about seeing Wander Franco, our need for pitching right now, with what we've seen recently, with Wacha and some of the other ones, I think Patino is going to be such a great addition when he does come back up to the majors.
And whenever McKay comes back too, I honestly don't know what happened to him. I think he disappeared or something, but whenever he comes back, that could be a big help.
He went into the ether, and I don't know completely why. I guess, there's games where he really shined, and he's a man who could also play at bat. If with some of the guys we have there, I think McKay would be as good, if not better, than some of the pitchers we have. I'm looking. I know we're talking about the minor leagues here, the farm report. Okay, so we'll see what's happening with there. Montgomery, let's see where they are. They're as far as the Biscuits, Montgomery Biscuits. I still haven't bought myself a Montgomery Biscuits hat or shirt. I love that logo.
It is a really cool logo.
Yeah. Right now they are not at the top. They're, I think, third down. And they're in the Double-A South, and Pensacola's leading that with 25 wins and 16 losses. Montgomery is almost the flip of that, 17 wins and 23 losses. So the Biscuits got some cooking to do. So we'll see what happens there. And then we get down to Bowling Green, Kentucky with the Bowling Green Hot Rods. And how are they going at this point? Let's see. They're leading.
Oh, not bad.
They're leading, yeah. They're leading the High A East Division with 27 wins and 13 losses. So that's good to see. And getting down to our new Low A East team, last year or this year, whatever we want to be, through the contraction, we lost the Stone Crabs. And then we kind of gave up the Hudson Valley Renegades. I think New York got that. And we've got the Charleston River Dogs. And let's see how they're doing. Okay. Well, they're leading as well. They're 26 wins and 13 losses. It's not surprising to see that the Rays get a lot of credit for their farm system.
Yeah, because they're performing very well. Just looking at this.
Yeah, to me, the minor leagues, like I said, I've always enjoyed them as much or more sometimes as the major leagues. So we'll see. So good news coming here, certainly for our Durham Bulls. And, that's the training ground, if you will, the final training ground before they make it to the Rays quite often. So we'll keep an eye on them. And glad to see that Bowling Green and Charleston is doing pretty good. Maybe we'll see if the Biscuits can get a little better. So that's what's happening with the Rays and the Rays Farm Report. Okay. Oh, Brandon, I almost forgot. We got the Baseball Biz RaysUp mailbag here. Let's see what we got, man. Okay, this is from, who's my favorite shortstop? Hechavarria. No, man, Hechavarria's been gone for a while. He says, Hechavarria. Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you remember Adames coming in? Okay, yes, and now we got Walsh, and now we may have Franco.
How about Jason Bartlett?
Yes. Let's reach. Tell you what. Okay, what else we got for the mailbag? When will the Trop refurbish the seating? And this is from, I love it here, but I like a new stadium. Well, from I love it here, I got to tell you, man, refurbishing, I don't anticipate much because we're looking for a new outdoor stadium in Tampa. Hey, Brand, you got any suggestions or recommendations for a new outdoor stadium?
I mean, it's a little bit too hot here during the summertime for outdoors for me. I like the glass roof like the Ivor project had, and maybe like some like movie theater seating instead of those plastic seats, or something like they have at arenas now where they're padded seating. I think that would be much better.
Well, maybe padded seating. Ooh, I like that. I'm thinking that to let Stu know that the Tampa would support, meaning Tampa, the city, would support the Rays even more so. What could we do? We could get them to play at, what we need to do? See, is we need an outdoor stadium that's available right now, and we have the Rays play 3 home games there, play one whole series there, and watch what you have as far as people coming to that.
Charlotte Sports Park.
A lot of people complain about getting to and in and out of the Trop and what the Trop looks like. I don't know. But if we could prove to them, I know what it is. We will put a baseball field in the middle of Amelie. No.
How about, is it Legends Field now or Steinmeier Field? That would be perfect.
Yeah. Go ahead and we'll do 3 games there. We'll do one series. And we'd have plenty of parking. We'd have pretty much the same parking as the Bucks have. There you go. Maybe we have it at Bucks Stadium. What do you say? We go ahead and we have a series in the middle of Bucks Stadium. I mean, we have had football teams play in the Trop. Can we get the Rays to play there at the Bucks Stadium, Raymond James?
I mean, it probably costs a bunch of money, which the Rays don't want to spend to renovate it to play or renovate it for baseball. But I think Legends, it's not whatever it's called now. I still call it Legends Field. I think that would be a perfect spot.
Yeah, you're talking about, like I said, where the Yankees do their spring training, right?
Right across the street from Raymond James.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd really like that. Okay, well, that's enough for the mailbag. Brandon, you got anything else to offer our friends here today on the Raise Up edition of Baseball Biz?
I honestly don't. To be honest, I think we covered all of our bases, at least until Wednesday.
I think so, too. So thank you, boys and girls, for joining us with another fantastic edition of Baseball Biz for the Raise Up edition. We hope that you're enjoying the Rays, and we know you'll enjoy them more this upcoming week than you have the past. And we look forward to talking with you guys again real soon. Special thanks to Scott Holmes for the music, Stomps and Claps.